Hi, and welcome to another episode of Badger Nerders Presents We Watched a Movie. I'm Brandon.
I'm Finn.
And today we watched Deadpool 2. Woo! The new Deadpool movie. It was Deadpool-y. Ben, thoughts?
It was very Deadpoolish. Deadpoolian, if you will. I enjoyed it. I don't think I liked it as much as I liked the first one. And I think part of that, that's not to take anything away from this movie, but it's just, it was not for me as good as the original first film. Part of that is just because that idea that, that's catching lightning in a bottle, it's the zeitgeist, it's the moment that it comes out, it's one of the first, it's not one of the first R-rated comic book movies, because that's a misnomer that everybody keeps repeating, and I do not know why.
I think it was just because it was such a high-value R-rated comic book movie. It was like the first one that broke free financially. That was
possibly also,
because the first one made such a windfall of money, and I think they did a real cool thing having done that, and I think it legitimizes your thing where it's not a bad movie, but it's not as good as the first one. It's a completely different movie from the first one.
No doubt. It is.
I was afraid this was going to be a cookie cutter of the first movie to guarantee a high return on sales, but instead they went an entirely different direction and made an entirely different movie. And it's fair to say both of them are pretty good, but it's which one's more to your flavor. The first one's a little bit more character driven, and the second one's a lot more cartoonish slapstick. It's far more slapstick than the first one. The first one tried to maintain this grittiness of danger, but in this one Deadpool's in no danger. You're oh man, he gets so messed up. That's one of the key, and as usual, spoilers. But that's one of the key kind of components of this story is him literally seeking death. So much so that, one of our producers went and saw it with us, all of us, and we were talking later about it, and he mentioned that, he was I think that, that he was almost expecting death to show up, because there was so much concern with his death and hers, and, and another thing, them killing off the object of his affection and the love of his life, who was the whole makeup and drive of the first film, and killing her within the first few minutes, and then referencing that multiple times in the opening credits was such a there's so many great takes on the killing superheroes off trend, which is going on right now with Infinity War and everything else. The fact that they kill off X-Force so much collateral damage. They're all gone. Every one of them. Not some of them make it through. They wind up with an X-Force at the end. Yes. But it's weird how it all comes together.
It's Domino. Out of the original group that they get together from those adverts, it's Domino. She's the only one because she's lucky.
Oh God, and it's ridiculous, but it's very slapstick, and I love that this movie it's a downward spiral. Like we said, his love interest dies at the beginning, so it's not just Deadpool already kind of off the hinges, but then in a total death spiral. So he's happy to take as many people along for the death ride as he can, and he does not care about. He's eventually I'll get it done if nothing else.
Exactly. It is definitely a different film from the first one, telling a different story, and I could dig that. I just don't think I enjoyed it nearly as much for the reasons which, I think are fairly obvious, that it's, that's lightning in a bottle. That's the first time you're doing that. That's the first time this character's coming to the screen in a version, mind you, in a version that is actually, and then again, of course, the reference in the credits, in the end credits of this film, where they, where he goes back in time with Cable's time doohickey and his Ben 10 wristwatch. Come on, dude.
Because and Ben 10 we can't talk about this movie without talking about Cable, because Brolin brought it in this movie. I think this is one of my. I love
the Thanos reference.
I love that he Thanos reference is great, but I think he plays a very cool mutant, cyborg mutant. And I think he just plays it to the core and to the bone, and it feels real cool. His performance is real
it feels real genuine. Like, he really tried.
No doubt,
he really
no doubt.
tried.
Yeah.
And I appreciate that, and it pays off. He's got some funny moments. Like,
well, and I love that, like, that relationship between Cable and Deadpool that is there in the comics. You know, from what little I do know of the Deadpool mythos and everything, I know that they do have that relationship of Cable's constantly busting, Deadpool's chops about being, this ridiculous,
Well, and it's great because he plays a straight man, and it's Roland Straightman to Ryan Reynolds, comedic foil.
Yeah.
So, like, it gives them this great back and forth.
Right.
This movie has a bunch of cool mutants in it, as much as, like, a lot of them die, and there's a lot of that,
Juggernaut.
Juggernaut makes his first screen-worthy appearance where you're like, that was Juggernaut.
Right.
And the first thing he does is he rips Deadpool in two. Totally pulls him in half.
I'm gonna rip you in half now. And he even tells I'm gonna rip you in half.
Yeah, he tells him a moment before he does it. Deadpool's into it. He's like all about it.
Yeah. He's like, I'm gonna do this, and then he does it.
Yeah, Domino, the X-Force person who winds up making it through.
Yes, the way that they filmed and the way that they structured her superpower
of luck,
luck manipulation and
where shit just works out for
entropy her. And manipulation. It was so well done. And you could tell quite a bit that the John Wick guy directed this, and that this was coming from that visual perspective of the way that guy directs, especially with those domino scenes. Just because of there was that one moment where she's coming through and something is exploded or something, and she's flown. Because of the explosion, she just starts walking. She hits the ground and just starts walking, and I was just like, dude, that is cool. That is ice cold, cooler than cool.
And it lets her do all kinds of awesome stuff, like let go of a steering wheel and just go do shit and assume it's going to work out.
And it just works.
Yeah, she gets saved from a fall in a big plushy inflatable animal from this high fall. And you're like, oh, that's so cool. So it's funny because Deadpool's busting her chops the whole time about how being lucky is not a superpower. It's not a thing you can have.
Your made up superpower, right? She's like, no, it really is. I'm just, just
really
things work out, And I love that they did play it that way, that she just does. She just has this natural, assurance. It's happened so many times throughout her life. Because at that point, the woman who's playing the character is probably early 20s, mid 20s, and so obviously we can constrain, take from that the character is, about in her mid 20s. And so, you think about that, she's been going through that a lot, and it's happened a lot throughout her life that she's just taken a chance on something and it worked out, and she was just like, okay, cool, I'm going to punch the headmaster in the balls, and I'm not going to get, cause somebody else is going to get blamed for it.
And it gives her personality this thing where Deadpool's even grilling her why are you here? He's like, oh, cause I'm lucky to be here.
Right. Yeah.
It's really, he's like, oh yeah, wherever I am, it's lucky to be here. And in
some ways it kind of is true because, she says she grew up in that orphanage. She's from that orphanage, that the main kid who is the whole linchpin of the story, who Cable is coming back to try to get because he grows into this horrendous, killing everything.
Flaming murder machine.
Mutant.
Him and Juggernaut are apparently real unstoppable when they get on a roll.
Yeah. And so she mentions that she grows up in that place. So in a way she kind of is lucky to, because it's giving her this opportunity to right the wrong that was done to her,
Yeah, no.
And it's through sheer luck, through just, she happened to
I think that's one of the cooler strengths. But when you think one of the things that's really cool about this movie is it has so many strains like that going through it, where you're like, they bothered to connect a bunch of dots and a bunch of lines, and because that it feels like one whole movie that comes together in a big epic end. And it all linchpins on that kid, which I think is really the crux difference between this movie and the last movie. Is in the last movie he's trying to get the girlfriend back, and this movie has a dead girlfriend that gave him a weird objective of being open, and he he placed this on this relationship with this kid that he barely knows. He was in jail with for a short period of time. But and I felt this kid's real important and integral to the story, and believing that Deadpool is just totally invested in saving this kid, because he is going way out of his way to save this kid. And it's semi-suicidal, that's probably why he took it on.
For the first half of the movie he is he is he denies it enough that we can accept in the later point that he's going to go ahead and take this on. That this is what's her name wants him to do. What is his girlfriend's name? Vanessa.
Vanessa.
Yes. But yeah, that this is what Vanessa wants him to do. Is that he needs to take care of this kid, and so they pay that off enough in the beginning of him being like, I just want to die, and fuck you, kid, and
trying to kill himself and stuff.
I'm just gonna let this thing take over and let the cancer flow, and blah blah blah. So that pays it off for that later. Him to embrace that kid and be like, yeah, I'm gonna try.
I agree, but I think that the emotional push of the movie has to be that then, and I just feel like it felt less sincere than the very selfish motivation in the first movie. I think that really drove Deadpool, where he's just like, oh no, I'm kind of single-minded, I have this thing. Now he's having to struggle to find a cause and a purpose, which what made for an entertaining hike. It made for all kinds of jokes and hijinks and hilarious superheroes that die hilarious ways, get sucked into helicopter propellers and stuff.
It makes spit on with
that acid spit.
I've got acid vomit.
God,
that's what I've got, caustic vomit.
Some of it gets really cartoony, but that's great. That's great. But I think to emotionally push through all that, you have to believe the center emotional push that he just really needs to save this kid for his dead girlfriend.
Right.
And I didn't find that as motivating as I felt the first movies was. But that having been said, I think this movie will hold up real well to multiple viewings. Because I bet you it's jam-packed full of Easter eggs.
Oh, yeah, God,
and because it has so many little funny one-lines in it, I'm sure I missed a few.
There's that one scene where they show the X-Men for a split second, for a few seconds, and I don't know if those were the actual actors, if it was just a bunch of people they just dressed up to look like the X-Men.
It happened so fast.
It happened so fast.
But it read.
And it's but it reads, and and I loved it, but I want to go back and on my second viewing actually wait, because knowing that moment's coming up, be okay, is that McAvoy, is there the dude who plays Beast currently, is that Beast, or because it certainly wasn't Kelsey Grammer,
right?
And
a lot of times when a movie hits a CGI versus CGI action sequence, I lose the movie, and I gotta say, this movie has one between the Juggernaut and Colossus, where they have this total throwdown, beatdown.
Juggernaut knocks one of Colossus's teeth out.
I didn't even know that could happen.
I know, right? Exactly. Neither did I. I'm and what did that sound like? That had to sound just...
But it makes me want to watch it again and look for the moment where he loses his tooth. I bet you that's cool.
Right.
But no, it's real good. I didn't lose interest in it. It maintained a pretty good sense of everyone's strength, because strengths vary wildly in this movie. It was a lot of fun, I think, and that's what'll shine through in the long term, is that this movie is almost probably more fun to watch.
Yeah.
Just after you've seen it once and you go through the story. This one gets right to the action.
Right.
There's a bunch of ridiculous combat fight scenes.
Yes.
There's a missed attack with a cream cheese spreader that changes fate and alters
yeah. Dude, I'm sorry though. Funny. That was pretty freaking cool. Him fighting with a butcher's block, and all the knives in it. Just pulling them out and throwing them and
stabbing
dudes with them, and then he pulls
the fight choreography in this movie is real solid.
And it was, again, it's obvious that it was the John Wick guys, that were behind this one as opposed to the original dude. It's still a solid movie. It just didn't grab me in the same way as the first one did. It's not, that's not saying anything against this movie. This movie, I did not feel like I got cheated. I had a great time. I enjoyed it. But it is, as you said, a different film too.
And it does that fourth wall breaking, and it has a great way. The last moments of this movie has a great retroactiving in it.
Yeah.
So the movie doesn't even have to be taken literally, because all kinds at the end of the movie, Deadpool goes back and alters a. Right. So, some people are spared. It's real funny, some of the people he spares. And clearly other people he didn't bother to change the plan enough to get, to save.
Which feels to me like both a a conversation with the screenwriters on, Infinity War and the build-up of Marvel towards that, and also a discussion on the possibility of...
Oh, yeah, it's totally lampooning them. It's totally lampooning them and how you have to,
what and getting a hold of the X properties and everything.
Oh, yeah.
I think because if you don't got to worry about what's happening next because of a contract, agreement, then you just go back and change a bunch of things in the timeline and be like,
I'm sure of two things. There will be a Deadpool 3, and it won't matter.
The Disney banner.
Probably not.
I don't know, dude. I don't know. I think it's gonna. I mean, it's still gonna happen. They're at least gonna get those bits of the property. They are going to get those. They may not get everything else out of that deal because we have to talk about that with this film. We have to. Because right now, the future of Fox is still, we don't know what's going to happen yet. The government has stepped in and said there's maybe...
I think regardless of who winds up owning it, I think that they would be foolhardy not to...
Of course they're going to do a Deadpool.
So, I think that they'll start putting together a team that seems
I think that it's going to be a Disney film. I really do. I think it'll be
so crazy.
Marvel
That'd be
film.
so weird. Disney does Deadpool. Oh no, it's a musical. Oh, it could be like Fantasia, but with Deadpool.
I mean, the fourth. What?
You're gonna steal.
Are we in the
man.
fourth?
Oh God! If you could shoot me.
Are we in the fourth iteration right now on Marvel movies, or are we in the? Or are they or is that about to come? Are we in the third? Are we finishing up the third?
Oh, we're at the end of Phase 3.
Phase 3. Okay, so Phase 4 is what's coming next. I guarantee you, within Phase 4, man, we're getting X-Men, we're getting the Fantastic Four within those films, and
really
within that universe. And thus, we're going to get a Deadpool Disney film. I mean, there's no way. That's the only thing they wanted in that whole... I know it is. It's so weird. But it's going to happen.
It's so inappropriate.
But it's going to happen because... It's not like Disney hasn't given money to R-rated filmmakers or whatever to make R-rated films. They had, Touchstone or whatever.
No, they have no. They'll just sign it off to another production group, and then
Buena Vista. I think it was not Touchstone. Buena Vista. Back in the day, and that was their movie studio. And they made plenty of R-rated films. But it's it's going to happen, man. I mean, and with that.
We'll see where the lampooning goes. We'll see how much sense of humor they have about themselves.
Exactly.
The one thing this movie has is a sense of humor about itself.
That's true. It didn't lose that. It did not lose that. It keeps busting its own chops.
And I think it thought about the audience in most things. Like if something was a little cheeseball, they didn't make you suffer through it for too long.
Right. Well, he references CGI on CGI fight. It's like, CGI on CGI fight coming.
Yeah, they almost say it before you can. Yeah, they're like, oh, we know what we're shoveling you.
Right,
We know what we're shoveling you.
We know what we're doing here, yeah.
But I dug that about this movie, and I thought it was a lot of fun. I think that it will shine as the more fun than the first movie. I think the first movie will be highly regarded, but I think the second one, I thought it was a bunch of fun. Yeah. I didn't have a bunch of complaints about it. Could have used a little bit more push, but oh god, that's such a petty complaint in a movie that has, dismembered Deadpool. So,
right. Well, that was Deadpool 2. We thank you guys for watching again, and y'all come back and see us next time. Later. Hey everybody, thanks for watching that episode of We Watched a Movie. Be sure to like, share, and subscribe to all of our videos. Make sure you click that bell icon down there. That'll let you know when our next video is coming out. Over here are some of our other videos, so you should check those out as well. And until next time, you guys keep watching movies, and we'll see you later.
Peace.